Welcome to The Fork in the Road with Perry S. Kaufman, business strategy for founders of private companies. This is the place to evaluate where you are and where you're going on the business lifecycle journey.
Welcome, everybody, to the very first Fork in the Road podcast. My name is Perry Kaufman, and I'm a strategic advisor to founders of private companies that have become successful. So they're on what I refer to as the founder's journey. And I'm going to quickly provide context, a little bit run through what the founder's journey is about, and then welcome our excellent guests that I can't wait to visit with. So the founder's journey has some really predictable stages of life cycle. The first one is startup, and I'm going to use Starbucks as the easiest example that everybody understands. In 1971, three guys got together, decided they wanted to open up a shop and sell coffee, and they did. In the startup phase is just survival. They just wanted to make it to another year or another day, and they did. And fast forward 5 years later, they went through stage 2, which was to prove the business model. That's basically getting the market to accept what they were offering them, come buy it. They would get be satisfied and happy with what they paid for what they got, and they would repeat business. And then you have a true business. And then stage 3 is longer term sustained growth. And in the case of Starbucks, they grew for 10 years. And after 10 years, they had gone from 1 store to 6 stores, all in the Seattle area. And they were feeling a little happy and anxious at the same time. That is what we call the fork in the road. They realized they were beginning to max out, and that was about as much as they could do. And a year later, they sold their company to a gentleman by the name of Howard Schultz, who had a vision to truly scale the business. Scale the business. So these guys had been operating for 15 years, had 6 stores. Howard Schultz came in 5 years, he took it to 165 stores, took the company public, and today there's over 17,000 Starbucks. But it was the vision and the effort of the founders that makes everything happen. So today I'm excited to welcome Toroian and Tracy Thomas, who are co-founders of Volleybird. And I'm anxious to hear as much as I can about your business. What I do understand is relevant to me. It involves enthusiasts of tennis, pickleball, padel, and golf. And I got 3 out of 4 of them, so you got my attention. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm always interested. I've worked with founders for many, many years, and I'm always interested to hear the story. How was this born, this idea, and how you got not only the idea honed, but the guts to act on it?
So one thing some people don't know is that we have actually 2 businesses in the pickleball, paddle, golf, and tennis space. And this was sort of the second one that we started. Our first one is sports tech, and we attended a conference out in Dallas called Sub Summit because we were working on how to price out our app that we were developing at the time, our mobile app. And while we were there, I sat in on, many sessions as one does, and sat in on a woman who is very successful in the subscription box space. And so I left that session and got out my phone and thought, well, there must be something out there for pickleball. Pickleball subscription box would be so much fun because pickleball players tend to be a little fanatic. And we love our stuff and everything, our kitchen towels and cocktail napkins and T-shirts that, dink
Caps.
responsibly. And right, exactly. So I went on, on the interwebs as one does and looked for pickleball subscription box, and I couldn't find anything. And I said to Cassandra, I said, we're crazy enough to start one business. How about another one? And I explained to her what I thought we should do. And she was like, all right, let me think about it. I'm not so sure. And then a couple months later, she's like, I have a great idea. Why don't we start a subscription box? So
No.
that's what we did. And
I've had clients like that too. Go ahead.
right. Yeah. I said, that's a great idea, right? And so we started out with pickleball and then figured since we were already doing tennis, paddle, and golf for our mobile apps, that we might as well just do all the sports for the subscription boxes. And as I was, researching brands and looking at other products in the market, the one thing that struck me is I was finding all the same stuff. There were a lot of little pop up stores on social media, kind of coming and going, and they were all selling almost the same stuff. But as I was researching, I also realized that there are some really cool um, companies out there, brands that have been founded with really cool products that a lot of people just didn't know about. And that was sort of the direction that we took. Putting these boxes together is we really do. I spend most of my day, um, to use refer to an overused word, curating, but sourcing products that you're just not going to find necessarily at Dick's Sporting Goods and or on Amazon. Because, like I said, there are some really amazing people, very similar to us, second careers in life, women founders, people doing sustainable products, which is a big focus for us now. So we are our goal is to bring these items to the public via our subscription boxes. So that's how we started.
So that's great. I forgot to tell you at the beginning that I don't think I mentioned that I love sports and I'm very passionate about business. I noted that you two put those together, and I think it's an amazing thing. Just for clarity for me, I'm a slow learner sometimes. So I'm a prospect of yours. So, okay, I'm an intermittent tennis and pickleball player and more golf uh, participant. So tell me, the subscription model is it that I, get a subscription and then periodically I get new merchandise, or how does it work?
Yes. So the way we have it structured is every 60 days, you get a new box
Oh, okay, good.
with different items in it every time. So it's a
Uh-huh.
way to give you exposure to new gear, apparel, wellness products, lifestyle products that are in your preferred sport category that maybe you'll really love it and want to continue buying it. Maybe you won't like it, but we're bringing
I've got to
you
try.
right.
Right.
But it's really to expose you to things that you're not going to find, basically, like Tracy said, at the Dick's Sporting Goods or a big box store. A lot of it is sustainable, organic. If we can find recycled, we're all about trying to and be more environmentally friendly. The idea is really that every box is going to be different that you get.
So, again, from the golf context for me, it could be cap, shirt, glove, ball.
Could be cap, shirt, glove, ball, could be training aid, um, different types of balls every time,
Okay.
bamboo tees.
Oh,
It's all kinds of things out there. Maybe it's a towel with a magnet, some sort of device to clean your cleat, your shoes, at the end of a game, all kinds of things.
so, so let's integrate that with the conversation. I think, Tracy, you were talking about your app, which I understand to be kind of rules.
Right.
Candidly, I got to tell you, the group that I play with, Cass, we don't want too many rules. We got the basics, but but help us understand so you can download a rules book or a question, or how's that work?
That's kind of how we got started was I didn't know the pickleball rules.
Uh-huh.
And Tracy
I'm there
does.
with you, by the way.
I grew up playing tennis, so I was a little uncomfortable first time out playing pickleball at the people sort of bickering about rules.
Did you ever step in the kitchen? I can't stop stepping. I mean, when I first played, it was like, you know, hit the ball over the net,
Right.
but
Yeah,
I didn't.
exactly. But
Anyway,
there were some things that just weren't intuitive about it, and so I looked up the rule book, and it was 70 pages long, and I thought, "Well, I can't print this out and take it with me the next time." So then I thought, "Well, what am I gonna do? Search on my iPhone, the PDF document? That doesn't make sense either." So basically, it was about necessity being the mother of invention and knowing enough about machine learning and AI. I thought, well, let's try and turn this into a searchable app, if you will,
sure.
that will answer scenarios and questions that it's given so that it's really a neutral third party referee, if you will. And in talking to some friends about it, Tracy and I realized that there was more to it than just pickleball. And some friends, at the golf club said, "Why wouldn't you do golf? Like, if you had golf, I would be all over that. I would love to have an app like that." So basically, we went from pickleball to an entire uh, ecosystem of sports rules using an API infrastructure.
Oh, wow.
So we started out, you can go download the Ruly pickleball app right now. You can go download the Ruly golf app. They're free. Those were kind of our test cases, if you will. But really, what we're doing is we're integrating into other existing sports apps, sports websites, where the players, the fans, the spectators already are.
I got it. Yeah.
So you're on their site and you have a question about a rule, you can use the widget that's right built in there.
That's awesome. The other thing in my personal history, it is I played basketball my whole life, and when I learned about your rules based, thing, two things popped into my mind. One is, especially the NBA, the rules change pretty frequently, and then the other one is, even if you know the rules, interpreting it to with something that happened on the court, a different animal, but still understanding what the actual rules say is really valuable. So that's pretty cool.
Well, there's a certain underlying, like, let's try and elevate sportsmanship again, right? And one way to do that is if we're not fighting, let's at least eliminate a fight about the rule while you're
Yeah.
playing the game.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of part of it. But the other is, as you mentioned, the rules update all the time. And so you could be looking on the internet or even using ChatGPT, and it's actually not giving you the most newest and correct rules.
I
So
can believe
that's why our proprietary system is better because it's only trained on, the, let's call it, source of truth.
right. Yeah. I think that's great. So backtracking for a minute, tell me, so if you are marrying your passion for sports and your passion for business, um, different question. I mean, the same question for each of you is: does one override the other? Is one thing something that drives you more than the other, or what would you say? Tracy, I'll start with you.
The only time that one overrides the other is when I go and leave in the middle of the day to play pickleball for a couple hours. That's a
Really
non-negotiable
focused,
for
I'm
me
sure. Yeah.
for my
Okay.
mental and physical health. Um,
Yes.
but I think that it's it's a lot of fun to be building a business um, in a community and being so in touch with your customer, your end user. It's very different. I've worked for other companies before and I've had my own businesses before. But this is just this is the most fun I think I've had working. It's also got, its own set of challenges for sure. Um, but it definitely is, motivating when it's something, that you really love to do, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure it helps a lot. Let's
Yeah.
face it, as at least my experience for myself and others that I have worked with over these years is that when you start up a business, the most motivating thing is probably fear of failure. Okay, so you are going to do whatever it takes to make it a success, and that's what it requires of a founder. So I'm sure the two of you have that. But I like your answer, Tracy. You can carve out the 2 hours or whatever it is to go play pickleball and clear your mind. That's another thing. Again, I set up play basketball pretty much my whole life, and especially in the business world, I found it to be what I referred to as an incredibly important mind clearing experience.
I was a runner for many years,
Mm.
and there's nothing that clears your mind more than running, really. And then I wound up with some knee issues and had to find something else. And, pickleball's really been the first thing for me that's given me that same feeling, that runner's high as they talk about, or whatever. So, I used to, before when I worked from home or had my own businesses, I'd just midday go for a run to clear my head, reset, or end of the day, it was my reward or whatever. And so it's nice to have something like that.
A couple of questions I have with the understanding that each of you have kind of been in businesses of your own and private companies in the past. What types of things can you think of that you considered before launching this that you might not have thought about first time around when you were, let's say younger and greener or, just less experienced?
Boy, that's going back a long ways now to think about that.
I'm
Uh,
just, I'm not trying to press you, but I'm just trying to think about the fact that um, I can tell you for myself, I had a sense of what I was getting into, but it's kind of one of those things where you don't know until you're there, I thought.
yeah, I would agree. I mean, I got my MBA, so um, in fact, before I even got my MBA, I tried to convince my father to give me money to go start a business. He said, "No, you need to go learn more about business and you need to go work for some people first."
Did you thank him later or not? You don't have to answer that.
Uh, I don't think I had to thank him. I think he
You
knew.
know,
I mean, I started my first internet company before I was 30. That's back in the 1990s. So, I learned pretty early about startups
yeah.
and what's important and what's not. The office space isn't important. None of that stuff is important. It's about getting to market.
And executing once you get there.
Right.
That's my thesis on what I call proving the business model. You've got to get into the market, get traction, but you also have to perform and execute because otherwise you'll lose the opportunity for that repeat business. But we don't have
Yeah.
to go into detail on that. But in your business today, would you say it's harder or more intense working with customers or vendors or both, or it depends on the moment?
For me personally, I think customers, and not that they're horrible by any means. It's just that when you're a founder, you have put so much of your heart and soul,
Right.
into it. And to receive constructive criticism, let's say, uh, sometimes it stings. It can
Yeah.
sting, because you have a whole thought process of why, let's just say why I chose a certain product to be in the box or the value of the box or, just a myriad things, but thought, there's a lot of thought when you're a small business, and particularly a startup. There's a lot of thought that goes into it that probably your regular customer who, or someone who hasn't started their own business really might not understand. So we realized pretty early on that that's an opportunity for us to make sure our messaging is very clear.
Yeah.
Just, part of the reason we do, podcasts like this and speak to people when we can, is to really get across that, this isn't, we're never going to be, Dick's Sporting Goods, and we don't want to,
No, it's
you
not
know.
your. Mhm.
Right, right. That's not our wheelhouse. And also the other thing I think we had to come to is, not everyone's our customer, and that's okay. We want to do the best for those who are. And one thing we're very proud of is we have a really high customer retention rate. So once they become our customer, they continue on with that subscription. I mean, we still have customers, who started with us from our first box, and that was a big leap of faith, that they took with us. And it's gratifying to know that we've delivered enough for them to stick around, and they buy them as gifts, and send them to people across the country. And we just love that, and one of the things I think that, again, also we learned early on, and we still kind of do kicking and screaming, is social media has changed your marketing. I'm a business major also, and I went to college in the 90s, and this was we didn't talk about this in marketing. And that's also made us way more accessible to our customers, because it's not calling an 800 number of customer service or sending an email. They get into our DMs, and they say, "Hey, but we love it because we need the feedback. We appreciate it. We listen to it. We work really hard to take good care of our customers." So,
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you touched something that's very important to me, and I explained to people that listening is an unappreciated talent, and it is a must if you're going to be successful in business.
What's interesting, Perry, is that because of the actual ideal customer profile here, right? Yes, it's these certain sports, but beyond that, there's more demographic to them, as far as age, gender, all of that. It's a highly attractive demographic. And so we actually think that ultimately, the value is in the data that we're collecting,
I was
and
just going to
and
say,
in the ability for us to cross-sell to
yeah,
these folks, more things, outside of maybe the sports arena. But, the one thing we're trying to hone in on more of is to differentiate is sustainable products, right? Because that is a really niche market. People are well, the ultimate is when we can find something that's made in the USA and it's sustainable, right? But really, that's a growing area, which is why we sort of jumped in and became a distributor for the world's only sustainable, eco-friendly tennis and padel ball in the world from the Netherlands. Because we wanted to have really a unique offering, and something that was gonna, again, have an underlying social message of there's 300 million tennis balls that get thrown in the dump every year. So it's a way to bring awareness, um, get the word out and offer something totally unique.
yeah. Now you're a tennis player. Have you? I know you've played with this ball. Can you detect any difference?
No, it doesn't play any differently. It's a great ball, and that's the thing is it's just getting awareness out there to people about these things exist.
So I have a. First of all, I think that is a clear differentiator, and that's interesting. I had a question I wanted to ask you, and I'm going to modify it. Originally, my question was going to be, Is there synergy between the rules app and the box products? And you can answer that, but I suspect it's loose. It's probably not strong. I don't know. Is that right?
Yeah. We originally were the intention was to build the mobile apps out as direct to consumer.
Yeah.
Um, and then when we launched them as MVPs and realized how difficult it is to actually build a mobile app versus a website. And it's much more technically difficult. And B, the amount of capital we would have had to spend to get enough downloads to where you could actually even create a revenue stream
Yeah.
even off of ads, right? It's very difficult. And so that's why we morphed it into B2B. So we offer it to Volleybird customers. Like we're sending an email out in a couple weeks to people about the Pickleball app, right? To let them know about it's a great way to help get more info on the rules, etc. Um, but it's more informational and to help them. We're not making any money off of that. It's just a kind of value add email we're sending out.
I did. Okay. So true confession. I was not familiar with, is it pronounced Patel?
Mm-hmm.
In my interpretation briefly, it was a combination of maybe tennis, racquetball, and paddleball, or
Yeah.
racquetball, pardon me,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So I don't know what the rules are, but it looks pretty interesting. It's European primarily, is that right now?
European and South American. It started in Mexico actually, and believe it or not, I mean it's globally it's the fastest growing sport.
Really?
The
Beyond
pickleball folks
pickleball?
would like to say it's pickleball, but it's not. It's actually a padel, and it has taken Europe by storm. The UK, Spain, Italy. It's the unbelievable growth. And now it's starting here in the United States. We're in very sort of early stages. Um, but major areas like Miami, Philadelphia, San Francisco, um, Dallas, Austin, they all have tons of investment money pouring in to build these facilities, many of which are focused on paddle or padel. Um, but a lot of them now are realizing they need to have more than that. They may have also pickleball, also tennis, multi-racket sport type of models. But yeah, it's gonna boom here very big.
So are you pretty committed to these sports, or are you considering expanding wide as opposed to deep into the existing ones?
As far as our rules app goes, that's endless. The opportunities there are
Yeah.
endless with backyard games, niche sports. We're working with kickball. I don't know if you watch the Ocho at all, ESPN, Ocho. They have a lot of these niche sports on there. We're
Okay.
involved with fling golf. We actually have fling golf in our golf app.
Okay.
Intense, the team tennis sport that's up and coming. So we have opportunities with a lot of the niche sports, and we have only dipped our toe in the water of esports, and we could expand into board games and all sorts of things down the road. So for the rules app or the rules API app, our rules ecosystem, that's definitely very wide. I think for now, we're going to stick where we're at with the boxes with these 4 sports. Although I'm dying to do like a mahjong box because that's becoming so popular.
I have a daughter who would be your target market.
And there's a lot of crossover with tennis and mahjong and paddle and mahjong. So
Oh yeah.
I might sneak, a couple like little special boxes, outside of the regular subscription for Mahjong just to test it out a little bit. But, we're open, but for right now, we're trying to really just perfect what we're doing now. And, we have run across so many great products that maybe don't work in the box, maybe physically just because of their size won't fit in a box, the price point's too high, or it's just, maybe not a universal enough product that would work in the box. So we did start on our website a section called Outside the Box, where we offer products that we find along the way that won't work for the box, but that we love, that are great, have great, again, founders with stories, women founders. We've worked with some college kids who have created products in the space. So it's really, we can grow that way. So maybe that's more of a vertical growth. I don't know, but that's where we're focused at the moment. And like Cassandra said, with the sustainable part.
Good. All right. So before we begin to wrap up, I want to ask each of you, if you had a 27, 28-year-old person come to you that had an idea that they wanted to start up and found, what are the top 2 pieces of advice or things that you would offer up for them, including maybe don't do it? But I won't taint your thoughts. But anything in particular come to mind?
I would want to ask them a series of questions first to understand, what their motivations are, what their skill sets are already.
Yep.
Then I would say, my advice is, have you worked for somebody else yet?
Yes. Go to school on somebody else first.
Right. And do you understand that before you can accept one dime from anybody else, you have to be willing to put in your own dimes? And are you prepared to do that?
Right.
For me personally, there's nothing more rewarding than working for yourself, quite honestly. Even if you fail, it's on it's because of something you did. I've
Right.
been corporate downsized a couple times. I've been let go because of global pandemics, and none of
Yeah.
that was in my hands. Of course, everything's in God's hands. You never really know what's going to happen, but I much rather bet on me. I highly recommend. 10 out of 10. Build your own business.
Well, I tell you, I couldn't agree with you more. But you have to have that type of mindset, and you have to know this is going to become your life, and there's no hiding from it. And you don't get to plan your vacations and say, I deserve a vacation, because the business doesn't always allow for that. But it is rewarding. And the reason I do what I do is because I find it very satisfying to know that I've seen countless different circumstances and events that come up and decisions that have to be made and twists and turns that can, offer feedback to others to consider things that they wouldn't otherwise consider. I tell everybody when I work with them that I'm not going to give you recommendations or suggestions. Every time you have to make a decision or we have an issue to address, I'm going to phrase it as, if it were me, this is what I would do. And you'll be surprised how many times I've had founders choose to discard that. And that's absolutely fine. And I'm not saying they were always wrong, but, experience is a decent thing,
Very important.
Yeah. So, ladies, I want to first of all congratulate you so much for what you've accomplished and what you're working on, and I would like to stay in touch so I can hear the ship sailing up the river or ocean or whatever you're doing, and that I know you'll be successful because Cassandra already said that she's got a list of the buyers. So Tracy Thomas, Cassandra Toroian, the co-founders of Volleybird, they'll send you boxes of incredible merchandise for your pickleball, tennis, padel, and golf. Don't forget golf, along with incredible downloading app for all the rules of any sport you can ever imagine. So look for them at volleybird.com, I presume. Is that close, ladies?
Volleybird.shop.
Oh, okay, please get that right. Volleybird.shop.
.shop.
All right, thanks for your time and wisdom and participation, and I look forward to staying in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This has been The Fork in the Road with Perry S. Kaufman. If you're a founder and this episode helped you think differently about where you are and where you're going, please visit perryskaufman.com.